Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for July 29th through August 1st. So we have entered the Lionsgate portal, very powerful energies this year with the current astrological configuration. Yesterday's Leo new moon started it all off with a bang, and we're really feeling this expansive fire energy as the sun is now in a trine with Jupiter. So the sun in Leo is, are you gonna shine? Are you gonna express the bigger, deeper truth of who you are? Leo is full of love and wants to shine and emanate that out. Now in trine to Jupiter, in Aries, Jupiter is our expansion. It's how we're growing and where we're trying to get to as far as the bigger vision. So Jupiter in Aries is saying, we got to claim back our life that we haven't been living and begin once again to fully live, or maybe we haven't ever done that really that we can remember. But this sense of like, no more half-ass, no more living the lies of the people around us. Supernova souls, it's time for us to shine and expand into the life force. Jupiter in Aries speaks to the force that moves all, the force of creation. And that is also our power and our immune system. And with this current astrology is really activating the physical body. So there's a couple messages coming through. On the one hand, a super dynamic time we want to take advantage of. We've got Mercury, North Node, epic conjunction, and Mars coming into that mix. And this is like a new timeline trying to snap into place, or a better timeline, the original timeline, or more optimal, we could say. So, but the deal with this is that it's so different from how we have been living. You know, like say we got knocked off of our timelines, and kind of this is exactly the energy we're finding in our life in very tiny ways. Constant distraction, and with this busyness of life and the people around us who refuse to allow us to be bigger. And it's this way we've been navigating. And so our optimal timeline, where the energy of it has to do with our abundance and receiving the gifts of who we are, and coming in and feeling that we deserve this wealth, this experience of a different way to be. So, but this new timeline is so radical, and that's the energy of Uranus. It's like radical change, lightning bolt, flash of insight, right? And it also has a disruptive energy to stagnant patterns. So Uranus is coming into the North Node, which is our future path, and Mars adding to the mix there, the warrior action, let's go, let's do it. Now, Mars rules the physical body, and Uranus or Taurus rules embodiment, where these elements are. And so it's literally a message about embodying higher frequency vibrations, that the new timeline or the optimal timeline is that. So we're being asked on the one hand to take advantage of this chaotic energy. Uranus kind of goes unexpected, you know, but in the unexpected, there's a dynamic, a dynamis, an energy. That's another word you could use for this vital force, you know, and that dynamic energy that the current astrology will talk it through. But this Lionsgate portal is giving us an opportunity to really make big leaps if we can be present and just kind of find our center in the storm of this chaos and use it to our advantage. So that's one of the messages here. It's just like super dynamic time. Pay attention, be present, because you can really make great headway in unexpected ways. The other part of the message is like, whoa, this is huge activating energies, and we have to be very careful with our bodies right now, our energy, and taking care of ourselves. Radical self-care. That's the only way we can receive these higher frequency vibrations. So that's kind of the story. And let's just look at this timeline. Of course, it felt like yesterday's Leo new moon was the gate opener of this Lion's Gate portal. And this is this activated energy of sun and purpose, light and love and drive and mission. That's kind of coming, the energy is coming from that trine with Jupiter. And Jupiter's going, yeah, let's claim back life. And yet today, Jupiter is turning retrograde. So it's saying Jupiter's always on a journey. Jupiter's always on an epic quest. And so it's kind of this energy of, whoa, I want that timeline. I see it. It's real. I can feel it. I got to go on a quest. And it's like a rethinking and a reevaluating and a cleaning up. I know it just keeps going on, but this next 4 or 5 months leading up to the end of the year, when Jupiter will come out of retrograde and go back into Aries, that's the timeline marker. And we want to have our shit cleaned up by then. You want to be ready to leap. You want to lighten your load. It makes me think of that Fool card in Tarot, the 0 point, where he's traveling lightly and he's got his animal friend and with him, and just kind of in total trust in the universe. A lot of supernova souls getting this message, like, be ready for something that's coming, prepare. And that preparation seems to be letting go of a lot of stuff, like physical stuff, ideas about the way we thought our life was going to be, or who we were going to be with, and what we we're going to be doing. And it's really uncomfortable, because it's that whole thing of, I don't know what it is. It's almost like that new timeline cannot come in and really catch you until you can make a leap to meet it. But this is the perfect storm pushing us into this. So there's a huge energy right now with Venus, and Venus has been in conjunction with Black Moon Lilith the last couple days. Whoo, it's coming off now. It's a relief. It's been like the deepest nitty gritty places, our insecurities, our vulnerabilities. Venus is going on a journey into the darkest places of the psyche in order to set herself free. Because now that Black Moon Lilith is coming off and Venus is now coming into a square with Chiron. And it's linking Black Moon Lilith and Chiron. And Chiron is the wounds is our deepest wounds. And in Aries, it's this life force. It's where we've given away our power, where we've given away our life, where we're not actually living, we're more like dying. So Venus is claiming back her life, but she's got to face all that's hidden in the deepest places of the psyche in order to set herself free. Right? So that can be really helpful when these things come up, because it's like, oh, the deepest, darkest stuff that you thought you dealt with, it was resolved. How many times you have to go through it again, right? And then it's right back in your face, but it's a mini version, and it's way more clear and concise, and it's giving you the opportunity to act in that right way you always wish you could have in your previous situations. Part of the program with this being trapped in this lower frequency vibration in this evolution is part of the mechanism that holds that in place is the status quo. And we simply have to look at the planets and the stars and just pay attention on any level, to these astrological events, to know that nothing is stagnant. Nothing stops. And this evolution has literally stopped. It stopped. We were held back time and time again. And from remembering and accessing the higher technology, that it's not that we have, it's that we are. We are higher technology. Light, we are transforming our physical body and our planet and physical form into light. And this is exactly the Leo portal. And it's like flash of light on that new timeline, you know? And so it's a really important time to feel into vibrationally all of the possibilities that are trying to land home. And think about it. It's like, it makes me think of the teachings of Abraham who've come through Esther Hicks. And it's like, talks about like all your wants and desires are activated and they're there. It's just about us coming into alignment, and that bucket of blessings, you know, can begin to pour into our life. And that's exactly what this whole astrology is about. It's like, you can't have that timeline until you can vibrate there, and you can't vibrate there until you get over yourself. In that, really feeling worthy and deserving. And so this is kind of Venus's journey. And it's like her disconnection to the mother, the dark mother archetype, coming back into feeling loved and held and cared for in this experience when supernova souls have been so rejected and persecuted. So it's quite a big shift that's talking about. So Black Moon Lilith, Venus, Black Moon Lilith in Cancer, the deepest, darkest secrets of what's keeping that feminine from coming back home to mother. How can the feminine be whole and complete if she doesn't have a mother, if she doesn't feel loved and held, if she doesn't feel connected to source? So she's got to go to this dark place of the psyche where she was cast aside to the underworld. And all of us, the shame and programming and kind of just be like, finally get to the nitty gritty of the corners of that closet. And then the combination, though, of Venus, Black Moon, Lilith facing the darkness, forced into the empowerment of claiming back life just before it's too late. That's the energy of this square with Chiron. And then Venus comes into a trine with the South Node. And so this is this dynamic energy where it's like conjunction with going deep into the darkness, squaring up with your right to your life and your freedom. And then this beautiful trine saying, we can clean this up. And perhaps that's what Jupiter retrograde is saying to us. Yeah, you want to really live, claim back life and life force. You can't do it with that shit in your psyche. And it's hard because supernova souls have been carrying in our psyche the whole story and energy of this whole evolution. In the new moon activation, it came through a very strong message around if you feel that you were there in the Atlantean catastrophes, it's a really important activation for you. These souls are called, maybe it's connected to this early degrees of fire signs, this activation of the supernova souls. And this whole particular group very connected to the technology that we were using in Atlantean time that was it started out absolutely in alignment with nature and humanity. And then, of course, that's the beginning of the story of the corruption and the distortion. And we have this psychic message, saying like, oh, Atlantean time was about the misuse of power. And supernova souls have been carrying this whole shame and guilt. And it's just like the feminine. Here she is, this glorious fountain of creation energy. And she feels dirty and wrong and bad about it. So we got some major shit to clean up. And unfortunately or fortunately, supernova souls, here we are at the cutting edge. We're the ones leading the way, and it's unknown and it's uncomfortable and it's really, really scary at the same time, super exciting. And it's so much better than being in that stagnant, stuck place, because it feels like we literally were kind of absconded and tricked and pushed, nudged off of our timeline. Perhaps this has happened throughout time as a way to keep humans from activating. But it's a feeling of being like quarantined. I know this feeling, and you haven't been able to figure out what it is. It's been going on for maybe the last decade, since 2012, maybe 2008, depends on, but we've been nudged off our timeline, and it's a feeling of like nothing is flowing. you can't get anything to hook up. All the doors are closed, because you're in the wrong frequency vibration. But that status quo, just hold on for dear life to avoid any trauma, that kicks in, and then we just freeze and become immobilized. And now we're finally having the astrological energy to bump us back on that optimal timeline, but now it's so far away from where we've been. So these Venus transits are really important. And it's like the Venus transits are telling us what the Mercury or what the Jupiter retrograde cycle is going to be about, and the journey that we're going on to claim back life and living and a full expression of who we are. Nothing else will do. That is the message and the energy of this Leo gateway, this Lionsgate portal. It's kind of like an energy building and an impetus in the supernova soul to be like, all right, I say yes, and to my whole self, to my whole experience, to my whole set of skills and gifts, to my whole light that wants to shine. And it's like this flash of light, a remembering of that bigger self of who you are. And then once that flash is in your life, it's like that life-changing event, and then you can't go back to conceding your reality to those around you anymore. You're like, I saw it. And I'm sorry you don't see it, but that's no longer my problem, because I have this inside of me and I'm going to live from this place. This is how we co-create this new world. We got to claim it. We got to own it. And we can't do that. I mean, that's how we vibrationally get in alignment. But like we were talking about, we can't do it while we're carrying around a bunch of unresolved BS. And it all has to do with our feminine. The psyche in men and women right now that's holding us back is our deep insecurities and fear of our potential. And our shame around this potential. Okay, so if we just cut it down to nuts and bolts, Atlantean story was like, and who knows if it's just stories or implanted memories, who knows what we're dealing with here. But many of us have very visceral memories of this catastrophe period on Earth. And the story, like we said, was misuse of power. And what has come through the supernova story is that, and through intuitive research, very much fits what came through the Edgar Cayce readings too. He literally talks about, and this is something I've seen too, that the misuse of power they're talking about was a few people taking the technology that supernova souls had brought to the earth to work with in harmony with nature and humanity, and created a weapon. And it was a powerful off-planet weapon. And so it is in alignment. If you read what came through the Edgar Cayce readings, it totally fits what we know of today as like directed energy weapons. And so we have to step back from the story and be like, wait a minute, we were told that the earth broke because we misused our power. And it's like the picture that comes is that your power, and this is all in the activation if you want to go get it fully, but I feel for some reason the story is important to get clarified. The message that's come through is that the technology we were working with was in our own body. And this is what the intuitive training is about too. It's like all the foundational steps and processes that can help you come into this activated field, to this light body, to this technology. So when you are grounded and connected, communicating with the earth, and you have your cosmic heart chakra, this is our cosmic connection to oneness. It's like a higher heart chakra. Activated, it's impossible to miscreate. And especially when you're only using your own technology in your body. The problem came when we use that same technology in devices, amplification devices outside. So then we have to go like, wait a minute, am I carrying in my psyche some story about like my power is going to hurt people and be destructive? Is this how we allowed our power to be used against us? I'm going to give you an example of this. Supernova soul, you are this light. You are this shining you have more access to this energy because of your advanced soul, just because of the experience. Not better or worse, you just had more experiences. And so oftentimes these souls came into a lineage where you had a leadership opportunity. And an example of supernova soul power being used against you is like the love of the people for you. Say you were like a child king or something. And then the powers that wanted to control, of course, the innocence and the beauty, and take advantage of that, basically could use the love of the people to lead them down a road that is not, manipulate that leader to lead the people down a road or start a war or whatever, right? And we've been allowing this to happen. And it's going to continue to happen until we claim and own our own power. But how can we do that if we're scared of it? And so the programming says that as we come into our higher intuitive knowing, or higher frequency vibration is destabilizing. And this is part of this whole bullshit story we've been told. All this earth changes shit. It's like, you guys, we're not even physical. Science has gotten to the point to prove to us it's not physical, it looks physical, feels physical. We are not physical. We are energy. We are galactic star beings. And so the higher frequency vibrations, as we begin to work with them, find that they're actually harmonizing and they're actually really supportive and they feel so good for supernova souls. You've been existing in way too low of frequency. It's been painful. So first of all, not destabilizing. Second of all, it's destabilizing only to, like we've been told that if we allow activation in our body or on this planet, earth changes, it'll break, and catastrophe and all that. And it's like, that was an inserted program into our reality. And it's not physical. And we are so powerful in an electromagnetic field. We can create an electromagnetic field for our earth through our energy. And we can create the optimal weather. And it's like, so this fear and trauma energy that was inserted in the Atlantean catastrophes, it's like basic trauma programming. And so in order to control a person, you can use trauma and then that trauma response, and then the person will do anything to avoid that next trauma. And that's how we got here. And now we're like, wait a minute, it's activating, it's happening. I'm moving into these energies and I actually feel better and it feels okay. And so we've got to rewire, because you can't find this fear programming until you begin to move into your activation. And the thing about it is that, like, it's just happening to us, right? It's not like 20 years ago, 10 years ago, when you're like, oh, I want to expand in my consciousness. It's like, oh God, how do I handle this? Right? So we're figuring out, we're remembering, we have to learn again how to use this technology, feel safe with it, get comfortable with it so that we can come into shining this light. But from the very beginning in the supernova story, I got this message that never really made sense, but starting to with this story, because it was like, when supernova souls take off the burden of shame and guilt and karma that they carry for our oppressors, right? Because the convenient part of the Atlantean catastrophes was targeting powerful people, souls, and blaming them and shaming them and trying to get that, that played out all the way through the Piscean age of persecution, And so this is what I was shown, that when supernova souls say, I'm not carrying this karmic burden anymore, it's like game over for the dark side on this planet. And we're right there. We're right there. And that's what the activation was about for the Leo new moon. So catch that if you didn't and you feel called to these concepts, or you're working with this fear of your own power, fear of going bigger, fear of your potential, because it's like some weird little program all the way back from Atlantean time that says that if you go any further, you're going to explode. Maybe, I don't know. But we're understanding that we're so much bigger and we're so much more powerful than this physical form. And I mean, I can't think of better astrology to talk about, so this the Jupiter retrograde, Jupiter went over the Aries point, and that was a very powerful marker, and it's going to go back over into Pisces, and then for the third time back over the Aries point. That Aries point speaks of Christ consciousness. It speaks of a whole new level of human experience. And so now if we look at the Christ mysteries and the story, what was really happening there, we're just only beginning to understand. Yeshua, Jesus showed us that we could do what he did and more. And he was showing us the potential and the possibility of transfiguration, of overcoming physical form. And we're literally doing this. Our whole supernova group leading the way for humanity and showing what's possible and getting comfortable again in these higher frequency energies and with this technology. So that's what this is all about. And I can't think of a better set of astrology to speak to embodiment of higher frequencies, because the only way forward is through radical shifting change. And that's, let's go. Mars is in there. Let's go. Let's do it. And so know that your physical body is going through radical changes and that incredible self-care. Know that if you can be present and just let the chaos happen around you, but look for those, it's like the chaos is opening little portals that we can slip through and skip a whole bunch of bullshit, So just try to be as present as you can and keep your sense of humor in these intense times, and remember what this is all about. And take really good care of yourself and be present and open to those mystical, magical experiences. This Uranus, North Node, Mars, Leo, Lion portal gate is moving mountains. And what are the mountains we're moving? It goes back to Venus's journey into the darkest depths of the shame, right? So what if that feminine part of all of ourselves is still playing small and hiding, because that's connected to this technology? And they made it about sex and dirtiness and sinning, and it's just total distraction. So all of that programming, though, still is in our psyche and forming us, and it's got to go. And so just be present with that process too. And these Venus transits, so activating and dynamic. And that trine with South Node, say, yeah, it's dark down there, but you can do it. We can do it. We made it this far. And you're starting to see the progress, this, with now Mercury is coming into an opposition with Saturn at 22 degrees Aquarius. So Mercury in Leo, Saturn in Aquarius, and then that's not too far out at the nodes of the moon at 18 degrees. So we really have a grand fixed cross, and the fixed signs are about establishing, about an order. It's about coming out of the chaos. And yet it also has an energy of being stuck. And so it's kind of like that stagnant energy of being stuck in that old timeline. And we're trying to jimmy the lock and get it moving. And that's exactly what the astrology is doing. It's like moving and shaking. And so what's coming up is the fixed, stuck energy, status quo, that's been keeping us from being able to be in the dynamic space of being okay with letting it all go. And that square, Venus square Chiron and cardinal signs is kind of pushing the wheel of time, saying, yep, can't stay here. So powerful energies, and I hope you have a beautiful and wonderful Lionsgate portal. Be present and take care of yourself. Support your physical body through these changes, and we'll see what it looks like on the other side. We've got lots of message of radical change, life-changing events, unexpected occurrences. And so hold on to your hats and keep breathing and keep loving. It's the only way through it. And so I look forward to seeing you soon on that next update. Keep in mind that intuitive training that starts in September. The most important information and support for supernova souls. And I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.